Hello, I'm Clarisse Fortuné. Welcome to Eye on Africa here on France 24. We start with the headlines. We will not be silent. The powerful words of Gabon's former First Lady as her family takes to stand in a French tribunal. They're accusing Gabonese authorities of acts of torture and brutality. She's a beautiful 25-year-old fashion influencer from Johannesburg. Successful and with many social media accounts, but there's a catch. She doesn't exist. Virtual influences are on the rise in South Africa. The world continues to celebrate Frantz Fanon's anniversary, who would have been 100 years old this year. Renowned jazzman ex-Lenny Kravitz trumpet player Ludovic Louis is with us tonight after signing the soundtrack of the biopic Fanon. Former Gabon's First Lady Sylvia Bongos and her son Noureddine filed a complaint in Paris earlier this week, alleging they were tortured by Gabonese security forces during their 20-month detention between 2023 and 2025. Gabonese authorities, meanwhile, are denouncing an attempt to draw attention away from the upcoming corruption trial. Laurent Berstecher explains.
Hitting back at the Gabonese government, Sylvia and Noureddine Bongos say they were subjected to physical torture during their nearly 21-month detention in Libreville's central prison and in the basement of the city's presidential palace. The wife and son of ousted President Ali Bongo filed a legal complaint against the state of Gabon in Paris earlier this week and say they have video evidence to back up their claims. Gabonese authorities meanwhile rejected the allegations and denounced an attempted diversion to draw attention away from an upcoming corruption trial.
Elle constate par ailleurs avec étonnement qu'alors que
the Gabonese presidency is surprised to note that these two individuals, who were released from detention on May 16th, neglected to spend their time to prepare their defense, instead preferring to engage in a strategy of diversion in order to disrupt judicial proceedings.
Sylvia and Noureddine Bongos were arrested in an August 2023 coup that toppled Gabon's longtime ruler Ali Bongo. They were extradited to Angola last May after spending 20 months in isolated detention. Both face a litany of corruption charges in Gabon, including allegations that Sylvia Bongos manipulated her husband into embezzling hundreds of millions of dollars from the country's treasury. Prior to their release, Sylvia and Noureddine Bongos reportedly signed documents giving away some of their possessions to the Gabonese state, as well as a non-disclosure agreement, but they now say they were forced to sign under threat of torture.
Chad, which is facing several large-scale security crises at its borders, is taking steps to alleviate the pressure. Chadian ministers detailed part of the content of a peace agreement signed between the Central African government and two rebel groups operating in Chad. The agreement includes a cessation of hostilities between the parties and the integration of former rebels into public affairs management. These clashes on Central African territory have had repercussions on Chadian soil, where the violence has spilled over. Now, let's meet Kim Zulu, a 25-year-old fashion blogger from Johannesburg. She has her own TikTok, Instagram, and even LinkedIn. But there's one catch. She doesn't actually exist. Virtual influencers are on the rise in South Africa, partnering with an increasing number of international brands. Tom Kennedy, Caroline Dumais, and Stephen Carsten's report.
Hey France 24, my name is Kim Zulu. I am South Africa's very first virtual influencer. You may be wondering, what do I do for fun? I run a fashion blog called Brown Street on TikTok, and I'm also into beauty and all things fashion.
This influencer is completely generated by artificial intelligence, yet she's followed by thousands of real people. And she's worked on marketing campaigns for brands like Mini and Puma. We travelled to Puma's head office in Cape Town. The company reached out to Kim Zulu's creators, a Johannesburg-based marketing agency, and digitised one of their shoes for a collaboration.
That's the shoe that digitized. They actually made it look really cool. That's her wearing the shoe. We made one, so we might as well just put a bunch of other shoes on set, you know. I mean, we still speak to humans at the end of the day. And we are humans, so I think it's always humans first. But if the technology is there, And that's where the world's going, you know. You have to listen. As a marketer, you have to listen.
The global virtual influencer market was valued at €5.5 billion in 2024. It is expected to grow to 98 billion by 2032. The main target audience is Gen Z.
I mean, it's very realistic. I mean, I wouldn't know it wasn't legit if you hadn't told me already that it's AI.
We should be using AI for more important things, like helping people around the world with real problems, not creating influencers, because there's a lot of people that can just put on makeup and talk about makeup and clothes. We don't need AI to do that.
In May, the creators of Kim Zulu released a new digital influencer called Tabi Forever. Even more realistic, she appeals to an audience of young girls, often posting about breakups and fashion.
So she said she might be the first, but she won't be the last. The Franco-Beninese Angélique Kidjo is now the first African singer to receive a star on the famous Hollywood Walk of Fame. With 5 Grammys under her belt, she has just completed an international tour celebrating her 40 years of career. She's among the list of 35 artists who will soon receive their star embedded in a pavement of Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles, an honor which celebrates personalities from the world of the arts.
Loving this love that you're giving me, you're like a wave that keeps lifting me, taking me so high. This feeling is so fire. You got the touch, that's the touch. I need your kisses warm like the summer breeze. You pour the good vibes all over my life. You bring the bright, your lights, sunlight to my soul.
And we love her music. 2025 marks the 100th anniversary of the birth of Frantz Fanon. The psychiatrist's work has had a significant impact on post-colonial and liberation movements around the world, especially in North Africa. Many art forms have been paying homage to him. And more recently, the film Fanon by Jean-Claude Barny has contributed to this tribute. The filmmaker chose Ludovic Louis for the soundtrack, a former trumpeter for Lenny Kravitz. The jazz musician employed a bold musical alliance, creating a dialogue with North African and Oriental sounds. Se défiler. Et enfin une chanson. And Ludovic Louis is here with us. I really love that soundtrack. So first, welcome, and tell us how you came about working on this biopic.
Thank you. It was great. I mean, I had the chance to meet with Jean-Claude Barny. He DM'd me on Instagram and said, man, I love your music. I would like to work with you on my next project. So he called me and he said, I'm working with a composer who's Thibaut Kienza-Gieman, and so you guys are going to work together for this soundtrack. So that's why we work together on the biopic soundtrack from Frantz Fanon. So writing a soundtrack is a different exercise. So take us through the creative process. So the way we did it is like we had like a track list of music that Jean-Claude liked, and he sent it to us and said, okay, that's the inspiration for what we want to do. So I said, okay, cool. Then we watched the movie, and from my part, I was like try to lock in on the screen to what's happening there. So I was watching it, and then I tried to process, okay, how he will react to something, and then it was a lot of discussion between Thibaut and I. And so sometimes he was sending me tracks and say, yeah, I heard like some trumpet doing this, so I sending some trumpet and matched it. And then I say, oh, by the way, I heard like a keyboard or something doing like that. Can you send this to me? Because I was in LA and he was in Stockholm, so we worked like remotely, and it was like something very, very interesting to do. But the part really interesting for me for the creative process was to watch that movie and try to deliver with the trumpet what might be Frantz Fanon's
from your point of
sound.
view with your music. And also, you might sound not like it, but you live in LA, but you're actually from Martinique, like Frantz Fanon. Did you grow up knowing his work, or did that influence as well? Did you do some research? Did that influence your work?
So I knew who he was, of course, but working on that biopic was for me something like, I want to know more. It was very, very interesting about that. So I do some research also and start like reading some books and of course going on the internet and try to see how he was as a person. So, and of course reading the script first was something try to understand what Jean-Claude wanted to go there for the soundtrack. So it was very interesting, and I still want to know more about him. So it's gonna be like some digging and looking around. But yeah,
I think that was one of the points of that movie as well, to explore a bit more. Tell us more a bit about yourself, because as I said in the introduction, you work with many big names like Lenny Kravitz, Quincy Jones. How would you define your style?
It's a mix of everything. I'm from Caribbean, I'm from Martinique. I grew up and born in Normandy. So it was basically, my music is a mix of everything. It's a mix of jazz, because I play trumpet and I also sing. Jazz, funk, soul, Caribbean music, Afro, because it's a part of everything. So basically I put a big pot, put everything in it, just go like this, and that's
melting
my music.
pot. Let's listen a bit of another soundtrack. Any names or big names that influenced your work?
Of course, I worked with Lenny Kravitz for 10 years, so of course I was like mostly looking at the way he was working, the way he was producing his album, the way he was like conceiving his shows and everything. So that was a big influence. Michael Jackson, James Brown, Earth, Wind and Fire, Kassav, of course. So I had like all of these artists that I was listening to since I was a kid. So that's all of that. I try to put it in my music and try to write like that a little bit.
Again, a bit of a mix. So we have 1 minute to talk about what's next. What's on your agenda?
So next is tomorrow in TSF Jazz in Chantilly.
France, yeah.
On tomorrow, and on the 10th I got another show in Paris at Duc des Lombards. It's gonna be for the first time an unplugged show. I wanted to do something very intimate, very no electric guitar, no keyboards electric, so I just wanted to be raw. So it's gonna be for the very first time on the 10th at Duc des Lombards in Paris.
And we'll be there. Ludovic Louis, thank you very much for being with us. Let's conclude our program with a bit more of your music. Thank you.